Hey guys, today we're in the shop and we're gonna start removing the motor out of this. I have an 05 RMK 900 and I have an oil leak and I believe it's somewhere up underneath either the oil tank has a crack, one of the hoses is loose, rotted. I've got a bad hose clamp, a few different things it could be, but the way this motor's set in here, I can't see anything. I have taken the seat off and the gas tank and tried to come at it from the back here, and it's still nothing. I mean, it's still just so far down that I can't see anything. I didn't see anything wrong with the tank from the back, so this is my first time digging into a snowmobile motor, and I didn't really see much on YouTube for it, so hopefully you can follow along and I can help others who are trying to do this by taking the motor out. Okay guys, so first things first is getting all this easy stuff out of the way. Your belt holder here, get that out of the way. Next, obviously you can start taking the exhaust off. I have this sweet little spring hook. This actually came with a trampoline that I bought for my kids. Works awesome. Obviously, it's what it's made for, is pulling these springs back. So we'll get all those off. You got 3 here on the manifold end, 2 up here into the can, and I have this spring strap here for this one, and there's also one kind of buried down. See it, yeah, down in there. So take all those off and you'll be able to wiggle the exhaust off and out. Watch this plug. It comes down here into these 2 connectors here. You can unconnect them and pull that whole thing off and get it out of your way. Alright, we've got the exhaust off here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. So here's our oil reservoir here, and there's like no room to really get back and see back in there for a leak or anything. So with the can off here, you can see the chain case on this side. But again, I mean, there's no way to really see in there. Even when I take the gas tank off, here's the tank. I mean, there's just no way I can see down in there. So I'm gonna go through now. I'm gonna start cutting zip ties and unplugging all the wires and everything. Disconnect the fuel lines up into here, into the tank. Plug wires, all that little stuff. And then we'll drain the coolant and go from there. I'm gonna hurry and drain the coolant real quick. What I did was undo this one here at the reservoir, and it's this hose that I have running down here. I'm just putting it lower than the block. Gravity should help drain it through there, and we'll get quite a bit drained out that way. Alright, I got I think mostly all the coolant's drained. Still a little bit in the bottom of this one that runs down. Next I'm going to take these side guards off. I've got bolts, one here, you got this hose clamp one here, a big one up here on the starter pulley, and then three more here, and then that should this side guard should come out of there, give us more room. Over the pulley here, get it out of the way, and same thing really on this side. A few bolts, and the top half of this side guard will come and give you more room to work. Alright, 5 bolts, 2 of them have nuts on the other side. The pulley is not a mounting point, so you can leave it on there. It should come out. Well, I got a little carried away. Sorry. But I'm sure any of this info could help somebody. I left off taking this side bracket off. I had all the coolant drained. The other side, basically the same thing. You've got your 2 bolts here that hold that bracket on, and your bolts here. One of those bolts is this motor mount bolt, or at least the motor mount bushing. Once those are off, you can go ahead and actually take these bolts out here. So there's a bolt here on this bushing, and the other one in that bushing that's inside this hole. So after those are out, your lower motor mounts, there's a bracket I'll show you right here. So this is the bottom of the motor. These holes here on the end of this bracket are for these holes here. 2 on each side. Once those motor mounts are out, you're basically just floating there. From here, you'll have to either reach in this back side, and there's a coolant line right here. I don't know if you can see that. Right there's a coolant line that you'll have to pull off because it wraps around this steering column, so you can't really pull the motor out. Next is just all your electrical connections. Pretty self-explanatory on that part. Fuel lines, you are going to want one of these little guys for your fuel line. So this just slides over this, and then slides down, and we'll push in the teeth that are holding this, and then you can pop them apart. That's what I've undone right here, if I can get it to focus. Sorry. You can see those teeth that'll hold it in there. So that pushes the teeth out of the way. You can pop those off. I ended up having to remove the tank again and the seat. To get to those, it's pretty tight back here, like I was saying. The main harness is this guy right here, this big snake one. I left it on the block and just undid these connectors at this end here. Everything's just kind of entangled, so make sure you keep track of what goes where and how it goes, plugs in, and if you see something like this, fix it. However you want to do that, just make sure it's protected again. I found a few wires here that were, I had one rubbing on the belt over here, so it was getting all worn away, and there's actually, you can see wires through it. wherever it went. It's probably up here. But so once you have all those motor mounts off, the coolant line undone, here's your main oil line. This one comes from the bottom of the oil tank, and this is actually where my leak was. You can see the clamp isn't even all the way to the end of this. I didn't pull this back. I actually just was feeling where it was going to the block, and it slipped right off. And it was soaked with oil, so I'm pretty sure that's my oil leak. Previous owner must have done some work down low in the oil system somewhere, because I haven't owned it long enough to do anything with it. So that one will connect down under here, under the throttle body. Let me tip this back. So that tap right there is where that line plugs into, and I just pulled it right off. You can see it's all oil soaked down here. I'm pretty confident that that's what my issue was. See, this one here's not even, that clamp's not even on that nipple there either. Nipple. So anyways, I found that about halfway through and figured, you know, I might as well just pull it and get everything cleaned up. And I was starting to clean down here and realized I kind of left you guys in the dust. But in the end, I mean, if you have the confidence to dig into one of these, then I feel like you should have the confidence to figure out what it does take to get it out. But hopefully this will help some newbie like myself, just to get an idea of what you got to do and what's going on and what it's going to take. I didn't need any special tools or anything, basic hand tools, but that's it. So now we'll just get everything cleaned up. I'll check all my clamps on the oil lines. I did have to take the manifold off here, so I'll have to get new gaskets there. I'll probably end up getting new bolts for it too. They were kind of stripped out and nasty looking, so that's that. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll try and answer them. I'm not a certified mechanic, but I hope I'm just like any of you who feel like you can turn a wrench on something. So good luck.